Okay, so I'm doing this video for those who I've sent this spreadsheet to. And to talk you through the system that I have going, because it can be a little overwhelming and intimidating if you've never used Google Drive, Google Sheets before. So down at the bottom, first of all, I have a little bit of an instruction guide, but I'm going to talk you through most of that. And then I have a tab at the bottom for each subject. This is the spreadsheet that I used last year, and I'm showing it to you because it's complete. And so I have a tab for each subject at the bottom, and this is all of our books. And by books, I mean living books, fiction, nonfiction, picture books, board books, etc., as well as movies, DVDs. We have Amazon Prime. We did have Netflix for a time. We don't have Netflix anymore. And we also have YouTube TV. So I can access a lot of other channels. And then on top of that, I also have through Amazon, I have a PBS Kids subscription. So most of the screen time resources will be Amazon, PBS Kids, etc. These are color coded, but you don't have to, that was just the way my brain saw things. So on each spreadsheet, I'll show you what they have in common. The history has a little bit extra, but I have the date, and that's the date that we read or watched whatever resource. I have the subject matter as what's it about in general. Then I have the medium being either a book or video. You can see here sometimes for a while I was trying to delineate fiction versus nonfiction. I obviously didn't keep up with that. I do occasionally put, if it's a board book or a picture book, and I'll explain that in a second. Okay, and then I have the reader. Now, the reader isn't going to be super important to you. I use this more for my own record keeping, but what this can possibly tell you is the ability level of the book itself, because I don't really delineate that on the spreadsheet. So during this year, and you can see this on the instruction tab, that I guess I didn't put Ezra's age. Ezra's 9. Ezra was 8 and 9 during this year, and then his younger brother was 4 for most of the year. So if it says Ezra, it was something that he was capable of reading on his own as an 8, 9-year-old boy. If it says Ezra to Sam, I'm trying to find, okay, here's Ezra to Sam, then that means it's something that my 4-year-old was able to understand and my 9-year-old was able to read aloud. They both are above grade level in reading and reading comprehension, but that kind of gives you an idea of the level of the book. Then I have the title. That's pretty self-explanatory. The show or the series. So if it's part of a series, you can see here, the Capital Mysteries by Ron Roy. We read all of them. I like to put the series that it's a part of so that I can find other books in the same series. And then the author, and then any notes that I had as I went through things. On the history side, you can see those were the columns for all of the subjects. I just have date, subject, medium, reader, title, show, series, author. Oh, let me explain one other thing. So it says author or location. So if it was, for example, a screen time resource, I'll highlight this cell. This was a little documentary. I try to put unless it's like a series like Wild Kratts or Nature Cat, like I know that those are 20 minutes, but for some of the documentaries, I like to put how long it was just for informational purposes. So this was like a 17-minute documentary on Amazon Prime. The series was Show Me Science and the location was Amazon Prime. And then also in this notes section, I put, we're using Adventures in Creation by Masterbooks. And so I tried to kind of go through and put what week it went with. So let me go to my history. So on my history, I also have added, instead of saying, the topic just in general, we were studying the 13 colonies. And so I wanted to put, well, initially I was trying to do the 50 states. We got really bogged down and only ended up accomplishing 9 states, or the 13 colonies in DC in that first year. So the state is what it goes with, and then the event within that state. So I'm going to show you how to sort. For example, Massachusetts, there's a lot of different history that went on in Massachusetts. So I can sort the spreadsheet by this. I'm going to go data, sort sheet by column B, which is this column, A to Z. And then I'm going to come down here to Massachusetts, and you can see that they're all together. But you can see that second column, they're kind of all mixed up. So if I wanted to say find everything about the Plymouth Landing, I would sort by this column, data sort sheet by column C, and then I could find everything about Plymouth, which would be here. And I could see everything that had to do with Plymouth that we covered. You can also do the same thing for your series. So say you're looking for all of the books in a certain series, even if they're, like, for example, graphic history was one that we did a little bit. Graphic history right here, and you can see they're different states, different things that they're about, but these are all of the books in a certain series. You can also sort by author, so data, sort sheet, the column I, and you can find everything by that author. And everything will stay, when you sort by a certain column, it moves, it doesn't just move that column, it moves the entire thing. So all of these items will stay together no matter how you sort them. So you'll be able to see. So that was what we used last year. And then what I'm going to do, this is pretty much, I used the same system. I perfected it over that year. So we had decided after we got bogged down with US history that I wanted to take a chronological approach because otherwise we would never finish. So we're using America's Story by Masterbooks, and you can see it on the history side. I've added 2 columns. I've added the chapter of America's Story, and also we're going to be doing the timeline of the revolution, which is the fight for freedom, which is what FFF means. And then America's struggle to become a nation, which is the timeline of the revolution set, also by Masterbooks, which we're going to be doing those in order of chronology. So like there's a couple chapters that kind of overlap. So I can sort by, okay, right now we're in chapter 5, Plymouth Landing. 5 and 6 are both about Plymouth. So if I'm going to sort by the chapter, I can see everything that has to do with that chapter. And it's still in progress. You can see a lot of blanks here that I need to fill in when I find resources sometimes I'll end up just putting the title and author so I don't lose it, and then I'll come back and fill things in. And then my other system over here is for our library, because we get 95% at least of our things from the library, at least as far as books go. So if it's yellow, it's either something that we, we own or we have access to, like on Amazon. And if it's yellow, it's like, okay, we literally have this, we can do it today if we wanted. Checked out means, okay, that item is checked out. If it just says next, that's because it's like a video resource. I should say checked out, hold on. And then if it's on hold, that means it's on hold at the library, and I'm constantly updating this when we picked up a bunch of books today, so I need to go through and I'll change, like for example, I know that we got these today, so I will copy paste, I will change the color, and then I'll sort by this column, and they'll move up to here so that I know that I now have those. And then I'm usually kind of working ahead, seeing like what's coming up, what do I need to order for a week down the road, 2 weeks down the road, because sometimes it takes time to get the books. And then this is really completely just for me, out of county right now. Normally we can access books over the entire state, and because of the coronavirus right now, they're only doing in-county holds. So if it's out of county, I have labeled it as out of county. They say that soon they're going to be accepting out of county transfers, but right now they're not. So I also have a whole tab here for America's Story not using. It says AS1 not using. This is more resources that I have skipped over, either because they were out of county or our library just didn't have them. So there's more resources over here, or we just didn't get to them. I'm not sure some of these, but anyway, we either just skipped over them or I just decided we weren't going to use them. Some of them were like a little bit above his level content-wise, like violence or that kind of thing. I usually try to label them if they're like that. But so you can see I still have all of the tabs here at the bottom. I also have one for all the resources that we were going to use when we were studying the 50 states. So I will probably be going in and grabbing some of these as we go through. I'm kind of still in the process of organizing all of that. And then as I find resources, I also have a spreadsheet for America's Story 2 and America's Story 3, because I'll find resources and I'm like, oh, I don't want to forget that when we get to those books, even though it's 2-3 years down the road, so that I can keep going. Oh, and then on the history too, I also have the year of the event if it was given, because occasionally I'll come across a book where it's like, okay, I know pretty much everything with Plymouth is 1620, but sometimes there will be a book about an event that isn't like a well-known date. And if the date is listed in the book's information as far as when the event in history was, I've labeled it. That way I can also come here and sort by year. Although I don't know, it's not sorting the right way. And I'm not sure why. 1620. Supposed to put the dates in order, and for some reason it's not completely. But anyway, it's just another way to figure out when the events took place in the book for history. So it's a little complicated. It makes sense to me. I'm sorry if it doesn't make sense to you, but hopefully that helps. I usually keep things organized by date, because that's kind of how my brain works. So I hope that helps, and thank you for watching.